Friday! Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. I am your host, Chrystelle Robinson Tiedemann. I am the host of the Love and Meaning podcast, where we talk about everything related to living a happiness forward life and creating the meaning in your life. And this is Friday Night Live Dive. Welcome to all my regulars. Welcome back. And welcome to everyone who's new. As you come in, say hello and let us know who or what you're celebrating. Not who, what you're celebrating this week. We have our special celebration light. Say hello and let us know what it is you are celebrating this week. Welcome. I'm so excited to be here. This right eyebrow is looking a little whack, but I'm going to try not to let that bother me. How has your week been? What's going well? What are you proud of? What did you learn? Let us know what it is that you're celebrating. What I am celebrating this week is totally rocking out my workouts. My husband can be a witness. I have killed it at working out this week. It's been almost every day of the week, and I'm feeling freaking good. And actually, that's very on topic for what we're going to discuss today. So say hello as you're coming in. I know that there's a delay, so I have my phone over here to make sure that I can see your comments. Sometimes that gets delayed. Hi, I'm not celebrating anything. That's not possible. What are you celebrating? Breathing. The weather. There was a little bit of reprieve for those of us in New York City. There was a little bit of a reprieve for like one day, maybe today, in the humidity. Your neighborhood, a beautiful view, a wonderful memory. Come on. There's got to be something. Even if you don't want to share it. There's definitely something in there that is worth celebrating this week. Conflict resolution, something. Are you proud of yourself that you just made it through? It was a challenging week and you made it through. You laughed 3 times. I don't know. Knowing you, Aunt Val, you made like 1,800 people laugh this week. So I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff in there that you can celebrate. But thank you for saying hi. And everyone else, say hi as you're coming in and let us know what it is that you are celebrating. I am so happy that you are here. I'm asking that you like, subscribe, and if you find this of benefit to you, please share. Please share it with anyone that you think could also benefit from it. That is how I've come across everything in my inner work journey that has been beneficial to me. Somebody shared it with me. So please share. It means the world. And so let's get started. Today, we are discussing the latest episode of the Love and Meaning podcast, which was Chronic Pain to Pain-Free, my self-healing story. So this week, I shared all about my history and experience with living with chronic pain. And I actually got a lot of, no questions, but I got quite a few comments this week, and it really touched my heart that a lot of people resonated with this. It's amazing how many people have been in a similar experience and felt it can be a very lonely and very isolating experience and kind of disheartening and stuff like that. So for Friday Night Live Dive, what we always do is we focus on bringing the concepts of the Love and Meaning podcast to life. It's about living it. It's about embodiment, takeaways, like how can this actually be impactful to your everyday life? So what I want to talk about today is belief when you don't have evidence. How do we believe in something when there isn't any evidence of it? Or even if there is evidence, the evidence that you have and you would like something different. How do we believe in something different when you have opposing evidence in front of you? And this can apply to everything. It was inspired from my pain story, my experience with chronic pain. And I encourage you to go and listen to the episode if you haven't. Um, I did record this one on video. So if you would like to watch it, you can watch me battle the mosquitoes in my backyard. You can watch it on YouTube. So the podcast drops every Monday at 8 a.m. EST, new episodes. You can watch it on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and right here on Coaching with Cree. Or if you search my name, Chrystelle Robinson Tiedemann, you can find my YouTube page, and the podcast drops here every week. And then every Friday, we meet here and we talk about it. So if you have questions, if you have comments, write it right there underneath whatever platform that you're listening to the podcast on. You can write it right in there. And if you can't join us live on the Friday, that's okay. I will answer your questions for you right here. So I love to hear from you. I want us to build a community. It's so much more meaningful when these concepts are brought to people's actual lives and we make it real. If we bring it into our own lives, make it personal. So ask me your comments, ask me your questions, write your comments, and I will cover it on Friday Night Live Dive. In the absence of questions, I talk about certain aspects of the podcast that I think would be really, really helpful and that a lot of people could benefit from. So today we're talking about belief without evidence. And I have my notes down here. So if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my own notes, okay? So, anyone else want to share what they're celebrating this week before we get into it? And even if you don't share, oh, I forgot to shine the light for me. Woo! And we're going to shine the light for Val's invisible celebration. Woo! I'm sending it out there. So, belief without evidence. All right, so this is really like the key to manifestation. It's the key to, what's another word for manifestation if that's not a word that people resonate with? It's the key to bringing something into your life that you want, okay? So this is very different. Believing in something without evidence, this is very different than delusion, okay? I work in psychiatry. I see delusion firsthand. That's like the far opposite end of this that doesn't work either. This is not about lying to ourselves. This is not about toxic positivity, which is a term that I actually really love because putting a band-aid on things and pretending everything is great is not helpful. It is actually quite toxic. So this is where the term toxic positivity came from. This is not what belief without evidence is, right? Or manifestation is. This is really about having a strong and solid foot in reality. In reality. And I know that there's a part of some people listening to that and they're like, stick with me. So this is really about the separation between circumstances and desires. Your circumstances and your expectations. Your circumstances and possibility. Oftentimes, our circumstances dictate all three of those. Your desires, possibility, and expectation. But that doesn't need to be the case. So our circumstances are simply what's happening in our life, right? So when I'm talking about my pain, when I was in the episode, my circumstances were, I am in pain. I am feeling a lot of pain in my body. Those are my current circumstances. My current circumstances are not the same as what I desire. They don't need to be the same as what I expect. And they are most definitely not the same as what is possible. Okay? So thinking about all three of these aspects, like desire, oftentimes I know that circumstance is going to influence your desire. So if I have no money, oftentimes I'm going to want money. And that's inspired from my circumstances. But your circumstances don't need to dictate your desire. We have the ability, we can allow ourselves to dream big. And oftentimes, when we are in dire circumstances, we don't even allow ourselves to do that. We actually diminish what we even allow ourselves to desire. But desire is actually the most pure, untainted aspect of our drive. Like, if you think of children, like, children fully understand desire. When you take a kid to the store and they're like, I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and I want this, they haven't curtailed what they want in that store based off of the amount of money that they have yet, right? Society hasn't done that to them yet. But if we think about it, what they want has nothing to do with how much money is in mom or dad's wallet or whoever they're with, right? A desire is a desire. We don't have to curtail our desires based off of circumstance, yet we do it all the time. And we've gotten so used to doing it that we forget that they're different. So desire in its purest form is something to cultivate. We see this in, I think, let's think of television or movies. Like, our favorite type of stories are those like come up stories that they started from the bottom, now we're here stories. You know what I mean? It's like overcame all the odds and we love those stories. That is a perfect example of seeing desire that's very different than circumstance. How often do we actually let ourselves do that in our own lives? Okay, so that's desire. Different than circumstance. I'm talking reality here. In reality, what is real is your circumstances do not need to dictate your desires. Okay? Possibility. Your circumstances do not dictate what is possible. We all live in a global world. I mean, not that the world is bigger now, but it's bigger in terms of our reach. So we have global access. We have the internet. We have social media. More than ever, we are capable of seeing what is possible in life by being exposed to many different people and the things that they do with their lives. Like, even if you think about, depending on your age, okay? So I'm about to be 40. So when I was a kid, the things that we thought of as jobs that we could have as kids were like doctor, lawyer, teacher. Like, a lot of people around my age say these things. The kids of today, you ask them what they want to be, and it's like, I want to create a digital empire of like just things where I'm like, like, I didn't even think that was possible. It's always been possible, but we don't realize how much our circumstances are dictating what we think is possible. Possibilities are absolutely endless. This is true. This is real. And this is not about denying circumstances. This is about being real. So, is something difficult? Yes. It doesn't mean it's not possible. So, this is a dose of seeing things as they actually are. Okay? So that was possibility. And then the third, expectation. I think actually expectation is the one that we have the hardest time untangling from circumstance. Expectation. We tend to, so like, if I asked anybody, what would be a logical response to what you would expect from any person's life? If you saw, the circumstances that a person is, what would you expect how would you expect things to go? And when I'd ask that of people, most people would give this logical answer of like, you'd expect it to like remain similar to what it is, right? The truth is, what we actually do, most of us, I definitely used to do this. And in some areas, I still struggle with it. And that's why I really want to cover this topic today, because this is applicable to all of us at every stage of our growth. There's always something that you can expand more in terms of your expectations. But what most of us do, and I see this consistently around me, is we actually expect the worst. We actually expect the worst. We say things like, what are some, like, be careful what you wish for. That's one. It could always be worse. I hear that constantly. It could always be worse. It's true. It could also be better. So if we're going to be logical here, what's the most logical thing that there is? Math. Probability. That it could always be worse is not actually how that works. That's not how probability works. There is just as much a possibility of things being better and things being worse. This is actually the truth. In objective reality, there is a possibility it could go either way, right? Our expectations are very often in the negative. Very often are they in the negative. And we don't realize we're doing this because we like to say things like, I'm just being real. But you're just being negative, actually. Most of the time when we're saying, I'm just being real, we're just being negative. And we have equated real with negative and don't even realize that you're not being real. You're actually setting yourself in a certain trajectory. So here's the thing, okay? It's not actually true that things can always be worse, or that we're waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's another favorite of mine that we hear all the time. I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Why is it that when things go really, really well, like, do you ever notice this, that you want something really badly, right? And then we get it, and then we just experience ourselves having that and just feeling like at any moment it can be taken away. Why do we do that? Right? And oftentimes we'll consider it that we're just being real. But here's the thing. Depending on the content of your thoughts, depending on your level of expectation, depending on, therefore, your frequency that you're vibrating on, the momentum that you are in already is actually likely to continue in that direction. So, in a sense, we are right. When we say things like, it could always be worse, if we're constantly thinking about how much worse something can get, or how much we don't want something, or how much we're fearing this, or whatever negative content that there is inside of our mind, if you are a negative person, you can expect negative outcomes. And that will be true because of your frequency. So all of this, I consider a lesson in reality, a lesson in the laws of the universe. And this was my first place that I started when learning to understand belief without evidence. When I was on my self-healing journey, my first step was a lesson in reality, which was a lesson in frequency, which is whatever it is that I am thinking constantly, that I am expecting, what I have deemed to be possible, will often be the case because of my frequency. So separating those things is very important. It is the key. Let me know if this is making sense to you. What's coming up for you? What's your experience with this? Does it make sense? Understanding that just because I think something doesn't make it true was step one. So this all came down to a matter of how do I operate on a different frequency? So therefore, I need to shift my frequency. Hi, Edie. Makes sense. Yeah. So how do I shift my frequency? I have these circumstances. I have different desires. Identifying what I desire. I was in severe pain. I desired to not be in pain. Okay? I was in severe pain. My expectation was of more and more pain. What if my expectation could be of this could be a little bit better? This could be a little bit better. There is an opportunity for this to be better. I could feel better. My circumstances were that I was in pain and the possibilities were freaking endless. Endless. I know that there are stories in existence where people had pain and then they didn't have pain, right? I knew that there were possibilities that things could get worse. But having a realistic grasp was so helpful. It really kind of expanded my world. And for anyone who was here last week, I totally lost my train of thought in the middle of something that I was sharing about my patients. And then it came back to me just before I went live today. And I think that happened on purpose because it's so kind of perfect for what we're talking about now. So when I'm saying that my circumstances are, that I'm feeling pain and my desire is to not be in pain, sometimes we don't even identify our desires in a clearly accurate way, meaning positive way. If you desire something, it's probably because it's good. And we don't even do that purely. We can taint that with our negativity. So the example that I was sharing last week is I do this therapeutic writing group with my patients. And in the group, I give everyone a piece of paper. And at the top of the paper, we write positive aspects of, and they have to fill in the blank with something that they love. And I instruct them to choose something that's really easy to feel good about, like people have written about the wildest things and they've been the best, like yellow socks, blueberry muffins, chocolate, jeans, video games. I got a lot of video games, but pick something that you really, really love, right? And then you need to fill the page with positive aspects of that thing. And it has to be full sentences. So it's like, I really love blank. I adore how. It's so fun when. And we just fill the page and we put a timer on and we have to just fill the page and we build a momentum. Oftentimes, they're like, I can't write a whole page. And I'm like, just start and see what happens. And it's actually a perfect example of how frequency works. You start writing and it's like, I have to think a little bit for the first line, the second line, the third line. And then it's just like, I love this. I love this about it. I love this about it. And then they just get into it. Like time and time again, this happens. And it's like the simplest little thing. And then we have to read it back at the end and we assess how they felt in the beginning of the activity, at the end of the activity. And 100% of the time, people feel so much better. And we just sat for 10 minutes writing about a thing that we already love, right? The simplest of exercises. And every time mood is increased. So the thing that is so interesting here about the desire that I'm saying is that what we'll find is I will describe to them, I want you to make sure that you're writing in the affirmative. In the affirmative. And inevitably, afterwards, they'll identify how difficult it was They realize how difficult it was and how much they don't think in that way. Here's an example. I could say, let's say that I want to get to work safe. So I could say, I'm so happy that I didn't get hit by a car a car on the way to work today. I'll ask someone to say a positive statement. I'm so happy I didn't get hit by a car on the way to work today. Versus, I'm so happy that I arrived to work safely. Do you see how the two statements can be very easily mixed up as both being seemingly positive? But the frequency of the first one is actually negative. It's actually in alignment with being hit with a car, by a car. The universe does not understand negation. The universe does not have any understanding of like, I don't want. It's just attraction. And this is one of the reasons that I really love law of attraction, and why I do find that sometimes people, especially with a strong religious background, sometimes have, not all the time, but sometimes can find themselves feeling very confused about universal law, because if you think there is a person who's out there assessing your desires and then they bestow it upon you like a gift, then something like, I don't want that, God, you'd think might work. But it doesn't, because there is no I don't want that. It's like, I don't want more pain. I don't want more pain. Oh, pain? 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 Okay, send some pain. Send some pain. No, I don't want pain. Pain. Okay. Well, you're talking about pain a lot. So pain. Okay. Send the pain. More pain over here, please. Like, this is the message that we're sending to the universe with I don't want. Instead of, I desire to feel really good in my body. I desire ease. Aligning with wellness. Oh, ease, wellness, feeling good. Send that. Send that. This is actually the way that the universe communicates, and understanding that it's not, if you can take the understanding out of like thinking that you're necessarily just speaking to a person who takes the order and understands all those words, like the universe doesn't speak English, right? It's a frequency. So we have to learn to determine what frequency we're on. And so deciphering between being in a negative state, being in a positive state, being in a real state, this is really, really important. So that example with my patients actually landed even better today. Let me know if this is still making sense. Are you still with me? And I would love to hear what anybody is celebrating this week. Say hi as you come in. It's so much more fun when I get to interact with you. So that was number one. That was the first step in evidence, in belief without evidence. Okay. So the idea now is like, you have to shift your frequency. I needed to shift my frequency. And I know that it's challenging and it's difficult because of how momentum works. The thing is the momentum that you've been in. A lot of times we've been in a thinking pattern for the last 20 something years, 30 something years, 50 something years. It's like, a snowball at the top of a mountain is a freaking avalanche at the bottom of a mountain. Like, that's a lot of momentum to be stopping. So it doesn't just happen like this. It actually requires repetition. And so in the episode, I talked about affirmations, because that was actually my introduction to affirmations, because I needed to start creating a different file in here. Like, the content needed to be switched out. And the thing is that all the time in the background, our thoughts are going, our thoughts are going, our thoughts are going, our thoughts are going, our thoughts are going. So if we don't actually purposefully find moments of pausing, that rhetoric, that negative rhetoric that limited sense of possibility, those negative expectations, that not even allowing yourself desires continues in the background. So I needed to find purposeful pauses, purposeful stops, and implant new content in here. One of my favorite mentors, Melanie Anlayer, has this statement that I love, and it's 1 foot in desire, 1 foot in gratitude. 1 foot in desire, 1 foot in gratitude. This is the way that we walk forward. 1 foot in desire, 1 foot in gratitude. So I'm sure everybody has heard that, like if you read The secret is gratitude. And you've heard it tons and tons and tons of time. I've mentioned it in multiple episodes, the power of gratitude. It's real. It's real. And the reason it's so powerful is that gratitude can be a way of training that content. If you train yourself to think in appreciation, that's the running file in the background. And therefore, that running file in the background is going to affect your frequency. The frequency of what you want is going to bring that to you. So there are multiple ways to do this. Oops, sorry about that. There are multiple ways to do this. So I can mention the ways, there are multiple ways that I am familiar with and that I've used. You tell me what ways this works for you. So how do we adjust or maintain our frequency? How do we do that? How do we make sure that we just don't have a kind of running background attraction field of what we don't want while we are experiencing that circumstance? So I'd love to know some things that you are familiar with. So while I was experiencing pain, and I mean, if you listen to the episode, like I'm talking, it was really severe. There were days that I couldn't move. I had a lot of radiating pain. So the pain was coming from my cervical spine, but the pain actually was mostly experienced in my upper extremities. So I would feel it down my arms. I had numbness and tingling in my fingers. I'd have random shooting electricity, feeling like fire, all kinds of pain. If I moved in certain directions, it could be sharp. Other than that, it was just dull and constant. It makes you tired. I don't know if anybody has experienced chronic pain before. It makes you tired. It takes a lot of energy to function while in pain. It just takes extra battery of life. So you can imagine how easy it is for the content of my thoughts, for my frequency to be, ow, 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 this sucks. I'm tired. I can't stand this. This hurts. When is this going to end? This is the worst. I can't believe this is my life. How long do I have to live like this? How is this ever going to change? This is never going to change. It's so easy because every moment I had a feedback loop of that being my reality. So I had to be very intentional about shifting my frequency, about changing that content, despite my circumstances. So 1, I never denied my pain. When I started in my healing process, denying my pain is telling myself I'm a liar because I know that I'm feeling it. It invalidates me, right? It most definitely does not make you feel better. So it wasn't about me denying my pain. It was about me acknowledging my current experience. And my favorite mode for doing that was tapping. Tapping is, the proper term is EFT, emotional freedom technique, and it involves using the meridian points. You tap here, 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 here. And if you guys like tap on that right now, tap on those spots, your collarbone, and right on the bra line, if you tap there, you can feel and hear the karate chop right here, like along the side of your thumb. You feel like a vibration, right? Do you feel that when you tap here on the orbital bone? It like, like it has a feeling. And that sends a signal to your nervous system. I think it's your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the nervous system that calms things, right? So after getting revved up, it's the one that calms things down. So what I would do is acknowledge my pain in reality while tapping on these meridian points and sending the message to my nervous system that, yes, I'm in pain and I'm okay. Yes, I'm in pain and I still love and accept myself. Yes, I'm in pain, but I believe this can be better. Yes, I'm only if you believe these statements, but I would say statements over and over again while tapping on these meridian points and say only true things and send myself love. Mind blowing how effective this technique is. Mind blowing. And tapping works for many other things. So validated myself. So reality again, this is all about reality. It's not about denying that I'm in pain. It's that I'm in pain and I can still have an expectation that this will be better. I'm in pain and I recognize my inner strength. I am in pain and this is really, really hard to deal with and I love myself. So soothing to the nervous system. So that's one technique. Another technique that a lot of people know is visualization. Visualization. You want to talk about desire. This is such a beautiful thing to do with your desires. Spend time imagining the realness of it. Belief without evidence, right? You have so much evidence of this reality. But if you know anything about psychology, neurology, the way that the brain works, it has been proven time and again that our brains actually don't know the difference between something imagined and something real. We all know this. So for those naysayers out there, if you have ever been sexually aroused by yourself, by a thought, you know that our bodies are very capable of responding to your thoughts. It doesn't matter if it's real. If you close your eyes and you imagine something, our brains, our bodies, especially the more visually descriptive it can be, the more real it can be, we react as if it's real. So visualization can be very, very powerful. I am not even a very visual person. So I know that not everybody is as visual as others. Some people are so visual. I'm not. But it's something that I increased practice with, and it's something that I'm really working on right now because there are plenty of things that I want to manifest in my life that I don't have the evidence of, right? And I want to use these techniques to do that right now. And so I've been expanding how I'm able to visualize things. And there are multiple techniques that you can look up for ways to do this, but you can pick a very specific, a very specific feeling, one that you felt lots of times. You can script a very specific scenario. Like, for example, if I'm going back to being in pain, I can attempt to visualize. So, for example, I used to sit on ice. No, not sit, lie. I used to lie in my bed on a giant thing of ice. My roommates would come and put it under me, and I would just lay there and literally freeze myself into functioning and lie right on my neck and freeze myself into easing the pain before I get up and go to work. And that soothing feeling. Hi, Mom. That soothing feeling of the ice. Ooh, that relief, it felt so good. So I would visualize the feeling of that I feel with the ice. So I knew in those moments what it felt like to be not in so much pain, right? It was less. But I would visualize with the ice and I had just woken up like that. Like that's the feeling. And I'm just waking up out of bed and then I'm brushing my teeth. Simple things like that. Those kind of visualizations are powerful. Powerful. Really, really powerful. So visualization is another big one. And again, you guys let me know, like what are ones that you have experienced? This is not a right or wrong situation. This is what works for you, right? Gratitude practice. Gratitude practice. You know, as simple as writing down the things that you're grateful for and feeling it as you write it. So, yes, I was in pain. At the same time, I also felt so supported by the fact that at this time I lived with two amazing young men as roommates. I was so supported by my two roommates, and I feel really lucky to have them. That was true. And that has a different frequency than pain. So when I sat there and I wrote list after list after list of gratitude, of appreciation. I was grateful for the neighborhood I lived in. I was grateful for the view outside of my window. I was grateful for the people at work that were supporting me. I was grateful for access to healthcare. I was grateful for you name it. And those have a frequency. And you remember, you can trust in universal law working in the background. So now think of the things that I'm adding. Just in this conversation, you can feel it. Think of the difference of the new files that I'm entering in to the computer up here, in addition to the files that run daily of, ouch, God, that hurts. I really don't like this. I also had, man, I'm so lucky to have these wonderful roommates. I'm so supported at work. My God, that view is so beautiful. My bed is so my bed made it to every gratitude list. I still have the same bed today. My husband and I sleep in that bed. I love this bed so much. It is so comfortable. Oh, my bed. That is my baby. Today, I am celebrating feeling good and grateful about my journey to finding me. Mwah! Perfecto. I love it. Woohoo! That deserves a light. Yes. Thank you, Alana. What a beautiful celebration. I'm all for it. And it's so perfect for what we're talking about. So, again, this is changing the frequency, right? And then this is another one that I used. And this might seem like, if you just saw this list, it might seem like, wow, I've done all. So true. The feeling is the secret. Yeah, it is. Like you can sit there and write a gratitude list and it genuinely did nothing. Like you can. People can do that. If you're doing this kind of stuff like without your emotion in it, without actually making it an experience that your brain can tap into and feel a different reality, it really is a waste of time. This is about creating and vibrating on a different frequency, so it has to be real. And if you can't think of too many things that you're grateful for, repeat the same things. So what? Repeat the same things. As long as you're still grateful for it, it would be better that you have a shorter list that you really feel. Like this is the key. And I don't know that everybody teaches that. It's the same thing with affirmations. So one of the clips that I put of the episode on my Instagram page is a clip of me talking about the affirmation, I am pain-free. I thought that was a total crock of shit. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I thought that was the most ridiculous thing. So you're telling me to tell myself I'm pain-free while my arms are on fire. There's no way. This is nonsense. Like, all I heard in my head was liar, liar, pants on fire. You know? Arms on fire. Liar, liar, arms on fire. So what I did I was like, well, that's not going to work, but I do want to feel better. So what I did was my affirmations were things like, I am willing to embrace a pain-free life. And it was true because I was tapping, I was visualizing, I was writing my gratitude list, like I was doing the things. So it was true. You know what I mean? It felt 100% true. The key is the truth. The key is reality. Reality. So often people think that when you're talking about this hairy fairy stuff, oh, you want to believe something that's not real. It's often more in reality than negativistic thinking. Like it's more part of reality. Nothing is always terrible in your life. There's always something good also. Even if overarchingly you feel terrible most of the time, there are moments that you feel good. How often do you stop and recognize them? One of the things that I love to say to my patients often, because it gets a chuckle out of them, but a lot of negativistic thinking is a part of mental illness because the reality is their circumstances are really rough often. I said, even when you're having I always say to them, even when you're having a bad day, chocolate tastes good. And they're like, that's true. Like you're having a hard time writing your appreciation list. I seen you attack those chocolate chip cookies 5 seconds ago. How did those taste? And they're like, they were good. You know what I mean? Like we do this thing to ourselves. It's not real. It's not real. So stop patting ourselves on the back for our negativism being, I'm being real. No. So another thing that I was doing, so this may be related to my pain story, like what I was going through was a physical issue, but I don't even think so. So I was exercising. That was a huge part of my recovery, is that I realized even though it felt painful to move, the less I moved, the more pain I actually experienced. So part of my recovery was learning to move more. At first, it was like, I medicated a little bit and moved through the pain. And then it was a matter of if I didn't work out, my pain would come back. So movement was a huge part of my healing journey. But exercising had a frequency, because what happened when I exercised? I started to feel strong. What's the frequency of strong? That is in alignment with wellness. I didn't even realize that. I was exercising because it helped with my pain in the long run. But I was actually also vibrating on the frequency of wellness when I finished that workout and I felt good about myself. I felt strong. I was in pain, but I also felt like I looked good. You know what I mean? There is a frequency to different activities. So what activities vibrate on the frequency of what you desire, great expectations, and the possibilities are endless, right? What activities can we be doing? Right now, so what I said was my celebration for the week is that I've been exercising. I did workouts pretty much every day this week. I feel freaking great. I feel great. I even said to my husband, I feel like, I can feel like my abs coming in. Like, girl, you worked out for 3 days in a row. Take it easy. It's not actually 3 days. It was 5 days. So, but I'm telling you, like, there are studies that show that they do tests and they ask people to rate how they feel about their body image. Their body image. So it's a feeling, not does your body even look better. They'll ask them after working out for 1 week. They even ask them after working out for 3 days. Their body image, and it improves. So the feeling has so much to do with everything, right? Like it really is about this frequency that we're vibrating on. So another thing that's perfectly in line with this is, what activities are you doing that foster joy? What are you doing that's fun? It is so easy. I can tell you, as a person who's been through it, it is so easy to be in an extremely have like a lot of physical pain and like just stop going out and stop hanging out with your friends and just literally function and move in a depressing way because that is a match to what you're feeling. So you start to actually remove yourself from things that bring you joy. And joy is a whole nother powerful frequency, you know? So doing activities like going out with my friends, even if I say to them like, if it, like if it starts to get really, really bad, I'm gonna go home. But I would love it if we could all hang out. And we would go and hang out. And I never ended up going home. Maybe once, you know? What activities align with the frequency that you want to vibrate on? And then this comes right around to the company you keep. People have a vibe. People have a frequency. If everybody that you hang out with is this, I'm gonna keep it real, aka negative, and so that's what you're hearing all the time. What we hear, we pick it up. It's a sponge. We pick it up. Okay. It's also, you're letting other people now affect your frequency. So the people that we hang out with are the crowd that we're around, right? The environments that we're in. Sometimes we don't have that much control over it. But to the point where you do have control, use that to your benefit. Use that to your benefit, right? Um, and then if you think about that, on another end of that is you're spending time with yourself. Let you also be a positive influence to you. This is how, like, if this all comes down to also like the influence you and you're having on yourself. You know what I mean? So this is where like the thoughts, the content of your thoughts and everything comes in. So the people that you're around, that is another level of your frequency. And in connection with like exercise and stuff, I started eating properly. I truly believe that food has frequency. I truly believe. I don't know if we've been able to prove that yet in science, but I believe that there is a higher frequency to certain foods, like natural foods, untainted, unprocessed, like American cheese versus, I don't know, really fresh butter lettuce. Like, I think they have very different frequencies. And I started to eat food that had a frequency to me that vibrated with wellness. And lo and behold, I became pain free. The wild thing, this is a solid example that I have. I use these principles in everything in my life. Like, I'm not just, the reason that this discussion is about belief without evidence, it's not just about becoming pain free, is because you can use these principles on anything. This is just a really solid example that I know a lot of people can relate to, is having pain. Well, LOL, I just told my sis today I'm happy to be Delulu. Freaking man, high five. You know what? You get the light for that. Woo! I'm celebrating that. I am so happy to be Delulu. I am. And you notice the young kids are getting it now to a certain degree. Like, some of them are getting it with these hilarious terms. Yeah, there's real Delulu and there's real delusion. And that can be when you're just like sitting and painting a smiley face and up on top of everything and doing nothing to actually shift. That is also delusional. And then, dare I say that, constantly telling yourself this negative story of what's going to come and things can't be better. And that's also delusional. That is not true. And it surely isn't true for a lot of other people. But we can do this to ourselves. So, yep, I'm also happy to be Delulu. If it seems crazy that I'm going to sit there and visualize wonderful things for myself, call me Delulu. I'm happy about it. So I might be Delulu about the frequency of my food, but I can feel it. I can feel it in my body. I happen to have a very sensitive apparatus. So I know I have a very sensitive tummy too. Like, I know pretty immediately when something doesn't vibe with me and when something does. So what vibes with you? What vibes with you? The key is, so these are just examples that I came up with. Like, what else? You guys tell me. What else do you know of? Like, how do we shift our frequency? How do we actually attach to the belief in something that we desire, even without the evidence? Like, what are other things that you can think of? I'd love it if you share it in the chat. I'd love it if you share it in the comments. But the key really here is for you to think about this for yourself. Like, are these things that I'm adding into my life? And once you come up with what they are, make sure to do them. Make sure to do them. The one thing I am actually so grateful for about experiencing chronic pain, trust me, I don't wish it on my worst enemy. Yes, I would have rather not felt that. I would rather not have this. But sometimes this is the reason why we talk about rock bottom. When you are pushed to the edge of your limit, you get mad strategic. You get real structured. I was so ready. I'm like, what is it? What is the activity? What is that? EFT? You got it. Let's go. Like, I was there just tapping. I was doing all the things because my desire, like, to be well was strong. So that is one of the benefits sometimes when you're pushed to the edge. Not everybody responds that way, but I no longer want to be pushed to an edge to have to make these kind of changes. I now know what's possible, and I'm going to make those changes. I don't want you either to have to be in rock bottom or push yourself to an edge to make those kind of changes. Allow for your desire to be stronger than your fears. Allow for that. Because it can be, it's a subtle thing. Sometimes we think we're thinking a desire and it's really the fear. Like, a really good example in dating is like, I desire to be in a loving, wonderful relationship, versus I don't want to be hurt again. Oftentimes people are so much stronger in their I don't want to be hurt again than I desire to be in a loving, wonderful relationship. Let your desire be the strongest frequency. Let your desire be the strongest frequency. That is actually how we vibrate on the level of what it is that we want. That's how we attract things to ourselves. That is the key to manifestation. And that is how we believe without evidence. Leaning into these things. And the truth is, it is real. It is your true desire. You just have to allow yourself to be there. It is the truth for you. So I hope that this was helpful for everyone. I hope that this is something that you can contemplate on, that you can come up with your own strategies for aligning with your beliefs without the evidence, and then make it a practice. So I would recommend daily visualization, daily tapping, daily gratitude journal, daily affirmations, if that's what you're into. Make it regular. If it's like doing something fun, maybe weekly, twice a week. If it's your food, again, make that the majority of the time. Yeah, you have a good time, and sometimes you have something that's not so healthy. Balance, that's fine, but like, in general, do you feel good in your body? These kind of things. How are we more than not vibing on the frequency of what it is that we want? And this is a beautiful thing that I can help you with in coaching. If you're interested in having one-on-one coaching, in my show notes, or if you go to Coaching with Cree on my Instagram page, my Calendly link is there, and you can book a 20-minute free clarity call for us to talk about your goals. The packages are listed there. I still have those amazing deals that I was talking about for just starting out with Coaching with Cree. But this is a wonderful thing to get coaching through. I oftentimes go to my coach to help me to call myself out at times when I don't even realize that I'm not allowing any aspect of the realm of possibility. I've totally decided what is possible. It's not true. I'm not even allowing myself to truly tap into my desire. Are you being the little kid in the store with like, I want that, I want that? There's a difference between I want that, I want that, I want that. You might not buy that, but don't tell yourself you don't want it. We don't have to do that. We've done that for so long. We dull our desires because it's like, it's too painful that I can't have it. Why does it have to be painful that you can't have it? Your desire is a beautiful thing. It doesn't have to be painful. The only reason it's painful is because you are more aligned with the thought of, I don't get to have what I want, versus, man, it would feel really good to have blank. You will get way faster. You will move way faster towards it feels really good to get that and have that than the other way around. You don't have to dull your desires, whether it's capable for you to have it in this moment or not. And that often leads us to being stuck where we are. So be that little kid in the store, whether you buy everything or not, be that little kid with your desires, and coaching can be really, really helpful for this, for sussing out, where am I dulling my desires? Where am I not seeing the full range of possibility? And where have I completely shut down my expectations? Where have I lowered my expectations? And it just often is a really simple shift, and then a matter of accountability, a matter of getting into practice. And it's like the results are amazing. I've seen it time and time again. So it would be my absolute honor to help you through that. So again, 20-minute clarity call. The link for it is in the show notes, and also you can find it on my Instagram page at Coaching with Cree. I also offer human design readings, helping you to get to know yourself better and truly understand the way that your energy works, which is really, really helpful. Me understanding how much rest I need was super healing for me. And I'm still very much on that journey with myself. So a human design reading can be really, really helpful in addition to your inner work. I love you guys. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead. Shine an extra light for all of our celebrations. And I hope to see you next week. Mwah. I love you. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.